fans, welcome to another episode of Valley Home Chefs, a production of Chippewa Valley Community Television. I'm Bob Brown, I'm here with producer Brendan Best, and today we're at the Eau Claire home of Anastasia and Mike Wenzel. Folks, what are you going to cook for us tonight?
I am going to make an adapted version of Julie Sani's Indian butter chicken, and we put a little twist on it, so it's a fun recipe.
Indian butter chicken, ladies and gentlemen, sounds tasty. Let's get going.
The first thing I'm going to start is a seasoned rice that we'll serve the butter chicken on top of. So this is going to take a little bit longer, so we want to get that going first. So we are using white basmati rice, and I'm going to take a cup of that. And to that I'm going to add 2 cups of water. And then we're going to put the spices in, and I have whole cloves. I'm going to take about maybe 10 of those. And we have crushed red pepper flakes, and those are just to taste. So we start with about half a teaspoon of those for not too spicy. We can go up to as many as you want if you like it spicy. And then I'm going to take some whole cardamom pods. So there's 6 of them here. And I'm going to just press those gently with a knife. So I just smash them a little bit, not enough to disintegrate them, but just enough to make a crack, because the flavor is actually in the seeds, but you don't want to have them release completely into the rice or it'll get overpowering. So you just crack them a little bit. And then we're going to set the rice to boil, turn it on high and bring it to a boil. And when it boils, we're going to reduce the heat to simmer and cook it for about 30 minutes. So it's time to start the chicken, and I'm going to ask Michael to cut up 2 onions for me.
So Mike, while you're chopping up those onions, why don't you tell us a little bit about it? You know, people may recognize you, they may not, oh, who is that guy? He looks familiar. They may have seen you on stage around the area, correct?
I've been around for a while, yeah. I've been playing in local bands since I was 18. Okay. And I'm older than that now.
So about 5 years?
Yeah, right around there, yeah. So legal to, go to a bar now, which is good. Okay. Yeah, I've been with a number of bands, traveled kind of around the country. Okay. Doing my thing, played some really, really cool shows with some, headlining bands, and got to do a lot of stuff, and came home, settled down.
Right. So now your most recent incarnation is a band called Manifest, right? That's you and Stasia, right?
Yep, you bet. It's us with studio musicians, basically, people that we're working with.
So you're kind of a rocker blues man kind of musician?
Yeah, I am rock blues. I'm kind of the 4/4 count guy in this relationship. She's the leader with musical creativity, takes us in directions that I never would, to be honest with you. She's got that creative piece that takes us out of 3-chord songs. If it was up to me, they'd all be 3-chord songs, and they'd be all the 3-chord songs that I can play. So.
These are jalapenos that I've already washed, and we're going to cut the tops off. Then I'm going to cut them into quarters, because this will make it easier to seed them. If you like your food very, very spicy, you can leave the seeds and the ribs in, but I'm going to just take them out. And you just run the knife down like that. And of course, whenever you're working with jalapenos, you will want to wash your hands right away, right afterwards. All right, so we've got these seeded, and now I'm going to just give them kind of a rough chop like the onions. I'm going to put these in the bowl, then we're going to get the pan out and start sauteing the onions and chilies. So now I'm going to take take out a frying pan and I'm going to saute the onions and chilies in a stick of butter. And yes, that's one whole stick. So we'll just let that melt over medium-high heat, and then we'll put in the onions and chilies. All right, I've got my butter pretty melted now, so I'm going to go ahead and add the onions and chilies so we can saute those. To make this go faster, I'm going to cover it just to let the onions release a little bit of moisture. And we'll do that over medium-high heat for about 5 minutes. And now we need some freshly grated ginger. So Michael is peeling the ginger root with a spoon to get off all that skin. This is great if you're feeling like you're coming down with a cold or just feeling run down. It gives you a lot of energy. Okay. So we want 2 tablespoons of ginger, and Michael's going to use this nifty little grater that my sister got me in France, and I have no idea what it's called, but it works wonderfully. And this will get all the good bits of ginger out for you while leaving the kind of fibrous center whole so that that doesn't go into your dish.
And where did you find this recipe?
It's from Classic Indian Cooking, which is by Julie Sani, and it's my go-to Indian cookbook. It's very authentic, and unlike other ones that I found, the recipes are well written out. They make sense and they work. I've tested a few other Indian cookbooks and never approximated what I could get in an Indian restaurant with them. So
this is the first thing she ever made for me, and I stayed, so it works. It does exactly as it's intended, as advertised. Is that good enough, baby?
yeah, that's good. Thank you. So the onions and chilies have cooked down. The onions are getting kind of translucent. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of grated ginger.
How long has that been cooking now?
The onions have been cooking about 10 to 15 minutes now. And if you want a little added flavor, you could continue to brown them until they get caramelized. So this is that.
In goes the ginger.
Ginger, and you're going to smell that. Part of the fun thing of cooking this dish is the aromas and how they change. And all we're doing is just warming this up a little bit because we are going to take the onions and chilies out of here so that we can start to brown the chicken.
So we're going to hear chicken breasts or?
These are thighs.
Okay.
They tend to have more flavor and stay juicier. I don't like chicken breasts unless they're from a heritage breed chicken, because the kind that you normally get in the store, the breed of chicken has been bred to produce such a huge breast that they've lost the quality of flavor and they tend to get really dry in cooking. So I will tend to use thighs. So Mike's just rinsing these off to get rid of any potential bone trimmings that might be in there. And then we're going to pat them dry on some paper towels, and he will chop them into some bite-sized pieces that I can fry up. So then you'll pat that dry on top.
And it's important to pat the chicken dry because?
Because when we saute it, if you put it, we're going to be putting it into this pan after removing the onions and chilies, and all the butter's still going to be in here, and that will be hot oil. And then if we add wet chicken, we will get splatters. It will brown better and fry easier if it is dry, just as any meat that you want to get a fond on the outside. You want to put it in the pan as dry as possible.
So how much meat do we have here?
So this is 1.5 pounds of chicken. You can go anywhere from 1 pound to 2 pounds with this, and leftovers work great. This recipe, in the traditional sense, uses leftover tandoori chicken, which is chicken roasted in a tandoor. So if you have, if you're looking for something quick, go and grab a rotisserie chicken and use that. Just do the frying obviously shorter because that's already cooked. But this is what we have is 1.5 pounds. right, and now I'm going to start frying up the chicken. This is in the same butter that the onions and chilies were in, so it's going to add some flavor. We're going to do it in small batches over medium-high heat, again, so it browns rather than steams. So this will take about probably 3 minutes a batch for the chicken. So we're talking about maybe, I don't know, 12 minutes for all of it.
But you could just do it all at one time?
You can do it all at one time if you don't care about the browning. I feel that the fond adds a little bit of flavor.
So does your cooking influence your music or vice versa?
Actually, I like a lot of world music, and it really does. Sometimes when I'm eating a particular dish, I will think about a certain type of music and I will put it on, and we'll have Asian night or Indian night, or I don't know. You know, it's funny how much food and art and music are intertwined and can inspire one another. Okay, we've got our chicken pretty much browned. So now I'm going to add the other chicken that we cooked and the ginger and the chilies and the onions back into this pan. I'm going to turn this to just a little below medium, and we are going to get ready to add the spices. So this is the fun part. Okay, now I'm going to add the spices, and we're not going to put them into the sauce. We're going to put them into the hot fat, the butter, because it sort of roasts them a little bit and helps release the flavor into the fat, which will spread it throughout the sauce. If we were to add it just to the tomatoes that we're going to add later, it wouldn't have the same quality of flavor. So the first thing I'm going to add is 4 teaspoons of ground cumin. Three and 4. And now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons garam masala, which is a combination of spices that are toasted. It's an Indian seasoning, and you can get it just about anywhere in town these days. I get mine from Festival. So that's 2 teaspoons of garam masala. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of paprika. And I like to use real Hungarian paprika because it has better flavor.
Do you know what it is about Hungarian paprika that makes it taste different than other kinds of paprika?
I don't know if it's the drying process or the quality of the peppers that they use, but I do find it makes a huge difference in everything from this to goulash to, you can just smell it. It's much richer than the American kind. So now I'm mixing the spices in with the butter, chicken, onions, and jalapenos. There's already the ground ginger in here. And we're going to let the spices just kind of impregnate the butter and release their scents. And it almost makes a roux, you know, like when you combine flour and butter to make a thickener for a sauce. That's almost what the spices are doing in this. It's getting a little frothy in the bottom of the pan, and that's going to thicken the sauce a little bit. And now we are going to put in the can of tomatoes. And if you have any bits of chicken that are stuck to the bottom of your pan, the acidity in the tomatoes will release them from the bottom of your pan. You'll find your pan much easier to clean. So it's sort of like deglazing as you would with stock or wine, but we're just using tomatoes. We want to get that all mixed in there with the butter.
And what goes well with this in terms of what you might drink?
We tend to drink Sauvignon Blanc with just about everything. I find it pairs really well, even though it's a white wine, with spicy and rich dishes. I wouldn't serve it with beef, but I would definitely serve it with this, and I would recommend Nobilo, which is a Marlborough region Sauvignon Blanc.
But if you don't drink, we have this with tea too, and it's really, really good. I mean, it's just a really friendly meal. It goes with everything.
So now I'm going to cover this, and we're going to simmer it for about 10 minutes. just on low heat. And in the meantime, I'm going to warm 1 cup of heavy cream. Thank you.
And what does the heavy cream add to the dish?
So that is going to give it some smoothness and also take away some of the spiciness. It tempers it a little bit. You'll still taste the spiciness, but it's not going to burn you. So we're just going to microwave that for 1 minute. Take the chill off of it. And this will help prevent the cream from curdling when I add it into the hot tomato sauce. And I'm adding in 1 cup of warmed cream and just mixing this throughout. And because we've warmed the cream, it did not curdle when we added it to the hot tomato sauce. The cream is going to cut the level of the heat. You will still taste the spice, but it will not give you a burn. And our butter chicken is ready to serve. All set to serve this. I'm going to bring it over to the counter. And we are going to take the spices out of the rice because they will have come to the surface. And you don't want to eat a whole clove or a whole cardamom pod. We want to remove those. You can leave any red pepper flakes. I like to call cardamom pods death pods because if you get a whole one in your mouth, they're a real wake-up call. So we're just going to take those out and discard those, and then our rice will be ready to serve. And we have some fresh cilantro that we're going to garnish it with on top. That's to taste. So we are going to serve this up. You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 1-pan, 1-dish meal. Comfort food. And then I'm going to garnish with the cilantro. And I like to just use a kitchen scissors to chop this up. And there we go.
And it's a butter chicken. That's perfect. That's perfect. It's so good.
Just enjoyed a delicious Indian dinner, butter chicken prepared for us by our newest Valley Home chefs, Anastasia and Mike Wenzel. Thanks for having us in your home tonight. And the recipe for this delicious dish will be available on the cvtcv.org website, so go there to learn how to cook this for yourself. And tune in again for Valley Home Chefs. Thanks for watching.
And I like to use Hungarian paprika because it has a better flavor. Let's just try that again.
That is going in for sure.
No! This is how I typically cook, actually, so this is really what usually happens around here. No!